name is Samuel Ogunoiki and you're welcome back to this YouTube channel. If this is your first time, thank you for joining in. God bless you. Also great to have you on here. Remember to subscribe to the channel, to like the video, and to share with your friends. Alright, so this is the third episode on falling in love. We're doing a 4-part series and this is the third video. The first one we spoke about how I made some mistakes and I shared some lessons from the mistakes I made. In the second video we spoke about falling in love with God, which is very important. I made a mistake, now I fell in love with God. And so in this video I'll be sharing some practical steps on how I maybe fell in love or with somebody or the person that I'm in love with now. Alright, so a disclaimer, I am not the standard. The word of God is the standard, but I'm here to just share some examples from my life story so far and the things I'm going through right now as I believe God will have me share. And so please feel free to pick some lessons and if there are any corrections you have, feel free to put them in the comment section. Alright, so let's go into it. So what are some 7 tips about falling in love the right way? The first one is know what you want. Know what you want before anybody comes, before a guy comes to dazzle you, before a girl comes to steal your eye or your vision, whichever one it is. Be sure that you know what you want. Be sure that you have an idea of what it is that you want in the first place. For example, if I'm a Christian, I know that whoever it is I want to be with or I want to fall in love with has to be a Christian. Know what your expectations are of a relationship. Know the kind of girl that you like to be with. Know the kind of guy that you like to be with. There's this saying that if you stand for nothing, you would fall for anything. Yes. And so even before the person comes, have some desires, have some expectations, know the kind of boundaries that you would like to keep. Now, this does not mean that when the person or whoever it is comes and if they are worthy or good or a nice person, this does not mean you hold your list on, oh, this is not my type, it's not my type and all that stuff. There must be majors and minors even on your list, and of course the physical things will count less for the things that are more important, like character. So before the person comes, before anything even happens, before you start liking a person, know what you want, have your desires, have your expectations. Number 2 is let purpose direct your choosing. Let purpose direct your choosing. Now, like I said, I'll be sharing some things about like me walking in love with somebody right now. And one of the things I know helped me when I was trying to pick or select who it is that I would be with was the fact that I had an idea of what I believe God has called me to do. I had an idea of what I believe I'll be doing in the future or I'm doing right now. And so one of the things I had made up my mind to do was that whoever it is that I'm going to pick to walk this journey with me has to be someone that I can see helping me carry out my God-given destiny. The purpose of relationship in the first place is to help you to fulfill God's purpose. And so it doesn't make much sense if the person you choose or fall in love with eventually turns out to be somebody that is anti your purpose. It will make sense to find out in marriage that what you want to do is far different from what your husband or wife will allow or like you to do. So it's important that first you already allow purpose to affect or direct your decision making. And so like I said, I believe that I was called to this kind of thing, XYZ or so. And so I saw this lady and first I liked the lady, she caught my attention, and so I was like, wait, will she be able to help me do this? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And so I believe that before you choose or while making the decision, while falling in love or walking in love, you should apply your purpose into whatever decision you're making. Number 3 is don't love in secret, love in public. Now, I don't mean that you should blow your trumpet when you like someone or you want to tell someone. I'm not saying you should go and tell all your friends, all your roommates and all that stuff. But what I'm saying is, it may remain secret to some people, that is the general public, but it should be public to some people, that is those that are close to you. Now, before you decide or before you take steps, even from when you're liking the person, it's good for you to love in public, like maybe a close friend or 2, those ones that you trust. Of course, not those bad friends that will influence you wrongly. For example, let me give you a gist. There was a time I was liking a girl, and so I told my roommates at that time that, hey, I think I like this girl. What do you think? And I remember he told me that bros, this girl, she has a boyfriend though. Can you imagine the girl that it's not even as if I had liked her for 2 months. So I was already liking this girl proper. I was journeying in a journey of liking. And someone now came and broke the news to me that this girl had a boyfriend. The point I'm trying to make here is that love in public and not in secret. In you telling that friend, that mentor, that close spiritual partner of yours, you get to learn one or two things, maybe things about that person that you did not know. Maybe some other things like, I think you should just hold on, I don't think you should go ahead with this. And person may even give you hints on how to actually get the person and all that stuff. And remember, there's this saying that sin thrives in secrecy. Now, loving someone may not be sin, but what that saying implies is that whatever it is that is wrong tends to thrive when you do it in secret. So that's the same thing here. So it's very important that whatever it is we want to do as it pertains to even loving people, we should try to be open to some extent about it. Remember, I'm not saying you should blow your trumpet to everybody, but like tell those around you, tell those important personnel, tell your spiritual parents, tell your mentors, and tell your close friends. They could provide you with some guidance. Number 4 is be accountable about your love process. Now let me share some more story. So I like so and so, a very wonderful girl, and I'm in a relationship with her now. And before then, I remember there's a love process. Love is not sudden. Remember, it's a decision you make, and in making the decision, you calculate. Remember, I spoke about that, and it's like a gradual process. So I remember telling like my pastors, in school when I was in university, they were like parents, spiritual parents, telling them that okay, so I like this girl. This was before I told her. So I like this girl. What do I do? And I remember like the pastor's wife told me, okay, I think you should do so and so. You should be friends with her, know her more. And so that helped. I went about, I did that, and I came back. I gave feedback. And then she goes again, she said, okay, so do you know if she likes you? And I'm like, I don't know if she likes me. She said, you are supposed to know by now. Okay, if you don't know, that means go and do so and so. Make a move that will, give you a feedback if she likes you, because it takes two to tango, so you have to know if she likes you. And so I did some moves, as a guy now, African man. So I did some moves and I got some feedback, and I could tell that, I think this person likes me. I think the feeling is mutual. Of course, before all of this, the foundation was, purpose. The foundation was, I believe God will have me be with this person. So how do I now go about, the process of falling in love or walking in love with this person? So that's what I'm sharing. And so I did those things, and, I got some feedback that maybe she likes me. And then it got to the next step. Now, the next step was a big one for me. Now, this time, the pastor himself, the husband of my pastor's wife, which is also a pastor, was involved, and he said to me, okay, so I think now is the time for you to tell this girl that you like her. I'm like, sir, if they if they give me bash, you not be there. I can't do this. I'm not ready. My heart is not ready. By and large, I eventually told this person, and it worked out fine. The funny thing was that this person I was trying to tell, toast and everything, and I was giving feedback to the pastor, was also doing the same thing, was also giving feedback to the pastor. And so we found ourselves in a place where it was like a cycle. I tell him, you tell her, everything just goes wrong. And remember, Proverbs chapter 11 verses 14 says that where there is no counsel, the people fall, but in the multitude of counselors, there is safety. So be accountable about your love process. Feel free to share with that mentor. Again, this does not mean you should just tell anybody about whatever it is that you're going through. But before you even like the person, before you go and tell the person that you like them, feel free to tell those above you that, hey, I'm feeling this way about someone. What do you think I should do? I know there's this thing that pastors used to complain about. Sorry, I'm talking about pastors. I'm a Christian, and I'm usually in church setting. They complain about the fact that some guys or some girls will go and start a relationship. They'll now come and meet the pastor and tell the pastor that, sir, I'm in a relationship, I want you to cancel that. Where were you before, when the guy was toasting you? Did you come and tell the pastor? Or when you were toasting the girl, did you come and tell them, they complain about those things? So the point is, be accountable about your love process. Number 5 is, don't be independent. Don't be independent of God's help. Remember in last video, we were talking about how we are like love babies, need help to walk, and imagine a baby trying to run. Initially takes baby steps with the help of the father or mother, and eventually the baby grows up to be an adult and they can run on their own. But that's the thing, when it comes to love and when it comes to anything in this world, we shouldn't get to a stage where we are like adults. Of course, we should grow up and become sons and mature, but we shouldn't be independent of God's help. Psalms 127 verses 1 says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. Unless the Lord guards the city, the watchman stays awake in vain." Now, it's possible for you to, let's take for instance, have a supernatural encounter as regards, your love relationship. For example, the Lord shows you in a dream, in the vision of the night, and He brings an angel with a lady wearing, dressed in white, and He brings her to you and says, "This is your wife, my beloved son." If He gives me that one, I will jump. That's a very nice encounter. God, I think you should do that for me. So yeah, it's possible for God to do that for you, and you get off, in the love process, you tell the person, maybe the person gives you a good feedback. Even she said she even had a dream. She entered a 3-hour vision of your wedding day. She has even seen the wedding finish. God, again, I think you should do that for me. You get? Yeah, so imagine, you guys have all those wonderful encounters and stuff, and so you get off on a good start. You get off on a relationship and you start something. But the problem here is, if you go on and you keep building without God's help, it's possible for things to go the wrong way. It's possible for you to start well and not actually, end well. It's possible for you to have supernatural encounters as regards, your relationship, or for you to even do the things right. You pray to God, you got a good counselor and everything, and so now you've started this relationship and don't now pursue it well. You don't build with God well. We talk about the fact that it's important for you to lay a good foundation when you're building something. It's possible for you to have a good foundation and now build a wrong structure upon that foundation. It's going to crumble. And so don't be independent of God. Build with God at every step of the way. Remember, God is not a means to an end. He's not a means for you to get into a relationship. God Himself is the end. God Himself is the point. And relationships do not have meaning. Marriages do not have meaning except, God is in it. And so even if you're married already, remember that, except you build with the Lord, you're building in vain. So go ahead and build with God. Number 6 is be committed. Now remember, love is a decision. It's not just a feeling you have. So you cannot just enter a relationship today and I'll say that, I'm not feeling like it again. The girl is annoying you, the guy is annoying you. He's not even looking attractive. Maybe the last time he used to wear perfume, he used to buff, and now maybe God has told him that you should go on 21 days fast. He's fasting, there's no more muscle, nothing is there again. So you're losing that attraction. The point is, you have to be committed. There will be times when you do not feel like it. There will be times when you do not, quote and unquote, feel like you love the person anymore. But love is a decision, and so stay committed with that person, and God will help you through. Number 7 is that you should love with marriage in view. Now, there are many things that this does for us. We must remember that, and this is particularly talking to those, in the dating phase or who are about to date. Of course, our married people, you people are agbas. There's nothing we can say at this point. You have hope. You cannot come out. But for those who are still, in that process of loving before they get married, remember to date or love with marriage in view. Now, dating is not an institution. Marriage is the institution. Dating is like a transport system. It's like a vehicle that takes you to marriage. Even if it's dating, courtship, a love affair, a relationship, or anything you call it. It's just like a vehicle that is transporting you to marriage. Marriage is the destination. And one of the things about having marriage in view when you're dating is that it helps you to prevent sexual struggles. For example, if you do not have a timeline, if the person you are dating, you are not even considering marrying the person, there's a tendency for you to fall for sexual temptations. But when you have marriage in view, for those people who are very, very expectant, you'll be I can't wait for that day, that glorious day. And so my point is, you have marriage in view. There's something you're looking forward to. That you want to preserve yourself for this person. It brings on you a sense of responsibility for that person, as compared to when you're just loving someone or you are falling in love without considering if you will or you can't marry that person. So yes, love with marriage in view. So if you're a guy and you are in a relationship with a girl, or you are just leading her on, you've not even to her, to you she's not even wife material, I think it would be good to put a pause to it, or break that relationship. And vice versa, if you're a girl, you're in a relationship with a guy, and to you can't marry this guy, then there's no point going about it like that. There's no point being in a relationship with someone if you don't think you can get married to them. So love with marriage in view. Also, I'd like to add to this that a single person is better than a broken heart. It's better for you to live your life single and enjoy the love of the Father. You love God until you eventually get into a relationship with someone and get married, than for you to start some here and there relationships and you're breaking your heart. And to conclude this video, I'd just like to say that if by any chance you're in a relationship or in a love affair, or you are even just in the process of liking somebody, and you can see that it's not going God's way, maybe you guys are doing things you're not supposed to, or you can tell that okay, God's will is not inside of this, feel free to break it. Feel free to, what we call it, the breakup. Feel free to end the relationship. Feel free to end the relationship. And even as you end it or as you break it, remember, don't also break it in silence. Don't end it in silence, or don't end it in secret. Do it in public. By public, I don't mean you should post on your status and say, I am officially breaking up with this guy, or I'm officially breaking up with this girl. What I mean is, let there be guidance. Go to a mentor, go to someone that is over here and tell them, okay, I think I'm no longer feeling this way for this person, or I feel the need to end this relationship because we're doing so and so. Like, let there be some guidance and mentorship. And why is that? Because you'll be surprised that some of the reasons why you want to end that relationship may be things that are resolvable. Okay, for example, you go to meet a mentor and the mentor just tells you that, oh, is that why? Oh, we also faced this thing, we also went through this and that, and this is the way you should go about this. Rather than do this, I suggest that you guys do this. Rather than do this, I suggest you guys talk about it, or bring him over, let's talk about this thing together. So the point is that even when ending or breaking a relationship, do it in public, do it under guidance and not in secret. I hope that this video has blessed you one way or the other. I pray that God will help us to love responsibly. God will help us to fall in love or walk in love the right way and with the right people, and God will establish us a people that long after him and enjoy blissful relationships. If this video has blessed you in any way, please do well to like, to subscribe, and to share. Till next time, love you, bye.